What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor review scores, try to predict what this game is going to get. Now, I like doing these videos, and I like doing them because review scores are fun to a degree, but I also want to make it very, very clear, in case you guys don't know, where I stand and where I hope other people stand on review scores. I don't use it as a be-all, end-all. I'm pretty against doing review scores in general. I don't actually give scores out when I review things, and my message has just always been make your own decision, right? Watch a boatload of gameplay, watch the beginning hour of the game, whatever. You decide on your own if the game is worth it or not. If you want to use review scores, be my guest, but I just hope that it's not the be-all, end-all. With that being said, review scores are fun. Review scores are used to the average gamer to decide whether they are getting a game or not. I totally understand that. And what I actually found very fascinating about this is I remember Fallen Order not being the highest, reviewed game of all time. It actually didn't even do all that amazing. And then when I was thinking, okay, I want to put this video together, we'll predict what Survivor is going to get, I first want to start by looking back at Jedi Fallen Order, and firstly, it got a 79. Now, that's not bad by any means, right? And honestly, depending on how you view scales of different scores, right, a 5 out of 10 is average. So if it gets an 8, that's way above average, right? But I know to a lot of people, if you get a 6 or a 7, that's still, not good. A 6 or a 7 is bad, and then, when you get to, a 7.5 and an 8, now you're starting to be, an above average score. You are a good game. So everybody's, kind of metric, everybody's scale is slightly different, but honestly, I think so highly of Fallen Order. I really, really like the game. Now, again, I don't give scores. I have no interest in giving this game a score, but if I were to give it a score, I don't think it would be a 79. I think it actually would be higher than that. And what's interesting is when you go through, there's quite a few reviews. There's 70 in all, and there is a lot of 6s. In fact, 6s, and then I would say 9s are probably the most common number that this game gets, but a boatload of 6s, some 7s, probably 5 or 6 7s, and then you have the boatload of 8s and then 9s. Actually, 8 seems to be probably where a lot of these scores are coming from. And it is mixed. I don't remember reading the reviews. I probably did, back in the day when Fallen Order came out. But this was a game that was looked at by a lot of these critics, it seems like, as just okay. It's a game that's serviceable. It's doing something different. I think the difficulty and the, From Software kind of influence that this game had, I think it caught, including myself, I guess it caught me off guard, but it caught a lot of reviewers off guard. When you read a lot of these scores, they're like, this is pretty different for a Star Wars game. There's some reviews that even mention Battlefront 2, where it's like, well, this game doesn't have microtransactions. So, you got to remember the era, right? You're sitting there in the fall of 2019. This was the game that really kind of reinvigorated Star Wars gaming, right? And it's not like the movies or shows have gotten any better. In fact, this is one of the beacons of light in the Star Wars universe, even still right now, okay? So you add that, it got a 79. Now, what do I think Survivor could get? I think I'd be shocked if Survivor got under a 79. Again, a lot of what these reviews, specifically the low ones, right? The higher ones, I guess you don't have to really worry about. Maybe you would feel they would be more inclined to immediately give Survivor already a higher score. I think that's fair, right? You think Fallen Order is, say, a 9 or a 9.5. You look at Survivor, it does look better. It also looks like more of the same, but then with the improvements where it needs to, you probably imagine the people that really liked Fallen Order are at least gonna really like Survivor. You know what I mean? There'd have to be some pretty severe changes in the wrong direction, I think, to have those 9s or 9.5s drop, let's say, to 8, 7, 6s. I'm more looking at the ones that are the low end, right? You have some pretty prominent sites that gave it 6s. You look to the Washington Post giving it a 7. Now, I don't know who on planet Earth is going to the Washington Post for a video game score, but somehow people do. You got The Gamer, you got Video Games Chronicle, which is a site I actually go to for gaming news. I don't really care about their opinions on games, but they gave it a 6. Giant Bomb gave it a 6. So, these aren't no names. Some of them are for sure, but there's also some pretty big ones that gave it lower scores. So, but when you look at them, I think a lot of them kind of said around the same thing. It's Star Wars. It's nothing spectacular. It's not all that much. And also the direction change kind of catches us off guard. So I do think Survivor is going to be better than Fallen Order. I think at worst, it's going to make just some improvements on what Fallen Order did. And then at best, it's going to basically fix every mistake. Now, I'm not necessarily expecting that, but that's why I'm saying at best it would do that. You're already seeing some of the quality of of life things with like the map, right? Even fast travel, things like that really were like a pain in the butt with Fallen Order. That could have, I don't know, does that dock 0.2 score for some of these gaming journalists? Maybe. And then now you give it to them, right? So I think Survivor is probably going to get in the mid 8s. Now, to be honest with you, I've been in this little kind of echo chamber, this little bubble, right? I'm super into this game. I've made loads of videos. I'm definitely way more positive of it than negative, and I'm also more positive of it than many other games that I cover. If I didn't see that Fallen Order got like a 79, I think Survivor could push the 90s. Like, you know, to get higher than say like a 93 is really for like the quote unquote elites, you know. Now again, there's some games that get in the 90s, high 90s, mid 90s that not everybody loves. Last of Us Part 2 being an example, right? Very mixed game, but that game has a 93 on Metacritic. But seeing that Fallen Order, I legitimately think it's a very good game. It definitely has problems. Bugs and glitches and things like that hurt that game, and there's a lot of reviews, even the higher scored reviews, that docked points because of it. So I think if Survivor comes out in working condition, and that may be easier said than done, right? Because Survivor's bigger, much bigger than Fallen Order. So there's probably more potential that Survivor has more issues than Fallen Order did. So that could very well hurt it. If it comes out and it runs, you know, as smooth as it can be, I think it could push the 90s. Like, and by that I mean 90, 91. But I'm going to say, I bet you it'll get somewhere, and I'll give you a range. Let's say 84 to 86. Okay, I'll give myself like a 3-number range. 84, 85, 86. I think that's the staples of an incredibly good game. Again, depending on your metric, it is kind of like an amazing game. Maybe to some people, it's like just an above average game, but I think that's a good score. But, you know, as I said in the beginning, I'm making these videos for fun. I like talking about reviews. I like going over other people's reviews and the scores, even if, you know, for me, I'm not ever going to give a game a score, and whatever Survivor gets, by the way, not going to change my, you know, opinion on it. If the game gets a 62, well, I'm still getting it day one, right? Maybe I'll be looking out for some things, but I mean, I'm still getting it. Same thing if it got a 98, right? Still getting it day one. Nothing changes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.